mean, yeah, I mean, that's a really good idea. Like, I
Okay.
think it's pretty interesting.
So, assimilation through art or something like that?
Well, that's an intense question, but yeah, maybe. I mean, kind of the idea of who are these artists, because I'm really obsessed with the idea of, from around the world, a lot of artists leave behind their practice and move to Los Angeles. Like, I met this guy who worked in a mechanic shop, and in Peru, he's part of this music called chicha. And chicha is a mix between indigenous music and psychedelic cumbia. And in the 70s, he was like a big deal in Peru, but now he works at a mechanic shop. So thinking about these people who are, like I met this woman who was, she plays it's called a tar, it's called a sar. It's this long Iranian guitar, and she, in Iran, she is a superstar, but here she's just another person. So these kinds of stories I'm really interested in, especially coming out of Koreatown.
I'm kind of fascinated by the Koreatown nut too. Like I forgot where I saw this story or where I heard it, but it was a story about various K-pop stars in Koreatown.
Yeah, August Brown.
I mean, yeah, and I think that Gangnam Style probably certainly contributed to that. But I actually, there was a band that released an album entirely by just sending it to one person, and then using this website to chart how it went viral, how it transported over the internet. I don't know if any of those tools they had would be accessible, but just to talk about like the place and how this gets transported through a non-traditional means, it could be kind of fun if we could potentially track down a K-pop star, like somebody who does a video and ask them to do a video, and then if we could find this software to try and track how to send it to people and actually sort of map how a viral video, because the idea of what this one site was that every time they sent a link, when you visited there, it tracked where you were geographically.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that would be publicly available, but I think it'd be kind of interesting to see how geographically, like a Koreatown-based video might be all over.
Yeah,
the anatomy of going viral.
Yeah, the anatomy of going viral, that's perfect. That's a cool idea, and it doesn't have to just be about Koreatown, but that's kind of looking at the artist industry, like looking at how do you succeed as an artist, and that's something that's really interesting, especially for me because I'm a big music dude. So.
Sure. And in all of these story ideas, which are great, think about how you'll use the data sets of research.
So, and there's lap over, like you've been doing a lot on pop-ups.
Yes.
And you found a lot of stuff. Well, what's the difference between pop-ups and being nomadic? And what's the difference between, I mean, is it possible that there's a time, are pop-ups existing because people can't fit into the gallery system? So is that a flip side of this question? And the bigger question that he has is why here? Why in LA? Why does all this stuff happen here? Or why does stuff not happen?
Yeah.
So there are overlaps. The contested spaces story overlaps with some of the arts ed. I mean, I think it'd be really fascinating to look at some of the educational stuff. Like, how do these things get passed down, which is then Sean's question. How are arts learned is part of the reframing of Tammy's question. That's a craft question. That's part of the tool and die thing, I mean, so start seeing these little interconnections, and frankly, if you can do that, and you can break off one piece and then another piece, and you're sharing the information, that gets very cool.
And I feel like a lot of stories come out of data. When you look at data, that's when you really figure it out. Like the other day, I mean, I go to galleries a lot, and so it's kind of, for me, that's my data. It's like bringing in information, reading all the time, and starting to see this trend in African American arts that are using alternate realities, which is appearing in a lot of different works by Los Angeles African American artists. And so it's by going to the galleries all the time, and reading this stuff, and then putting that stuff together where it's like, oh, there's this gallery with this guy who does paintings of maps of imagined countries, and then there's another woman who's doing a similar thing who writes stories about this, and there's this guy, a rapper who raps about these different, made-up worlds. So then you triangulate all of this stuff together.
Which has been going on for a while, actually. Afrofuturism.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And also the really important thing you just said is to be out there looking, thinking, take it all in. That's where ideas will come from. Do we know, or should we hear about the formats that Drew is looking for?
That would be good.
Sure.
Because that's part of your treatment. If you look at your rubric, it's what format are you going to tell this in and why? And what kind of human power do you need to help you out doing these things?
So for us, we're really multimedia. We're really lucky that we're able, since we don't work like a newspaper or anything like that, we're able to embed images, sound clips. We can typography. We can change the typography to have poetry within it. Whatever you need to do, but this is what we need to map out with me beforehand. So the thing is to find the stories and then find the media that fits with it. You know, like later today, I'm going to go interview photographer Charlie White and a musician named Boom Bip. He's an electronic artist. And so we're doing a round table. I'm going to record it and make it into an audio file that goes along with the Q&A. So, which is going to be embedded with the videos and that. So thinking about these different things. Like when I put the interview together, I'm like, what are the best ways that this would work? One is the audio file, because it's going to be a round table and a Q&A. But maybe if you're going to do something on the resurgence of Afrofuturism, you know, then you can make that into a feature with photos. We're really interested in imagery as well. And particularly, I'm very, very interested in paper. So if you could get scans, old archival materials. We have a project with USC with their libraries to, because I was interested in blueprints as pieces of art, because the blueprints before computer graphics are it's all hand-drawn. And before they would make computer or CAD design of a building, people would use watercolor to paint out what a house would look like. So, so we're interested in that as well, getting paper represented online. So think of the story and then think of the different ways that it could be represented, and we could probably do most of it.
Now, he as a rudder, and Reed as a rudder, and Tammy as a rudder, you can talk to the rudder, you know, like, right? I mean, if he doesn't answer you, he's probably busy. But it doesn't mean you can't post things on Basecamp. You go to the 30 Garage, you're gonna have, this is your chance. You can email him, move on. If he doesn't have time, he says no. But he's helping to shape the story. So you have specific questions. It's up to you as a reporter to go to the end of what you can go to, do a thorough, complete job on this, so your story gets told. The other thing is, were you gonna invite them to?
Yeah, you know, the thing that I'm really interested in doing also is helping you guys to develop as writers or as journalists. So I'm really, really open to you pitching to me, and even if you guys, and one thing that we want to offer is that you can come to the KCET studios and kind of sit in on our process. We have a very small crew, but still I think that you'll learn a lot by seeing the editorial process and see how this all works and see the relationship between me and Vaughn, how things get turned into articles, and then how do we dream them up into videos. Because a lot of the stuff we do isn't just a straightforward profile. Some of it's based on ideas. So that's something that we want to offer if you guys are interested in doing that.
So that'll be during the week, like not during class. We'll stick with class. But you know, last year, Jessica Coslow's piece, which we all saw, as you know, KCET took it and turned it into a 7-minute thing. This is actually the opportunity, it sounds like from what Juan was saying, to sit with the editor who does that, so that you learn how to do that. The statistic that came out of the Media Social Flow meeting was fascinating. 52% of the traffic in social media is video. 52% is video.
And it's on mobile phones.
And it's on mobile phones, and it's 53 seconds. You learn to do that, and you figure out when you're doing that. You know, it's also the idea that home pages are no longer, people don't go to home pages.
Yeah.
They have to exist because all these publications need to have the home page as the home. But the flow is flowing like a school of fish. And the flow is where the information is. The people, the audience, don't forget that in this process. It's not just doing one story with one person. There are communities out there. You identify the communities, which, by the way, you'll have, start getting get your Twitter operating. And the other one of the key things that set this social flow guy off is he realized that he was really upset about journalism, because he realized that people, when they were doing hashtags, we're doing hashtag immigration, hashtag the economy, hashtag joblessness. And the assumption was is those three things caused each other. And that in fact, to be a good, responsible journalist, you had to be very conscious of what you were setting up as your relationships. And it was a fascinating conversation, and it had to do with Kant, and I mean, he came to these conclusions, and that ultimately that mimics social media. So when you're interviewing these artists, and when you're doing this stuff, find out who they're talking to and how do they talk.
Can I just ask, like, for Artbound, do you prefer like stories about artists, or do you also take stories about like normal people learning something, or like anybody, or is it just basically artists?
Yeah, we're trying to focus on art, and because we have done culture stories, we do that a little bit, but but we're really trying to take a really deep look at art, and then arts administration and education, of course, as well, and access. But really, art is the way to go. As I said, we did a little bit of culture stuff, but we find that the art stories are the ones that do really well for us.
So we have time for a couple more questions for Drew, and Drew has to leave,
Me
right?
too.
And we have to move on to Tammy, but.
Well, and what I want to do in those couple of minutes also, I want to give you like 2 minutes to write. I don't care even if you think you're not going to do a story that's related to this, put something on paper out of this conversation. You'll be glad you did.
And I'm really open. I get a lot of emails, but feel free to email me because I'd like to get in touch. If you guys have ideas, we're open to freelance pieces. So, and I feel like that would be, and I'm definitely willing to work with you guys too, so to develop ideas.
What is your email address, Drew?
Oh, thanks for asking.
Probably on Basecamp.
It is, but so my last name is ridiculous. It's Tewksbury, so I'm going to spell it out for you. But it's D as for Drew, and it's TEWKSBURY.
B-U-R-Y.
That's right. At kcet.org.
KCT.org.
Yeah. So feel free to pitch me stuff. Sometimes it might take me a little time to get back. I've got 30 contributors, so it's a little bit much. But I would love to work with you guys and stuff.
I completely missed that. Is it D. Tewksbury?
Tewksbury at kcet.org.
That's right.
Yeah. So what they're doing for this coming Thursday is they're each coming up with 3 story ideas that we're going to do in here at the Spaghetti Films.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And one thing I'm interested in also is series. If you come up with a series that's really interesting, I'm totally down with that. We have a great series that just started. It's called Japanese Accents, which is looking at traditional Japanese art and how it informs LA artists. So there's a bunch of different LA artists who are really looking to old school Japanese stuff, but then giving it an update. So like that's a series that we have.
Are they Japanese American artists, or is that just the theme?
It's
design
people who
wise?
are design-wise, people who are looking to ancient Japan to inform their works now. And they don't have to be Japanese or Asian at all, but it's people who take influence from that. So that's kind of the series.
And
Oh,
we'll
web
do
series or?
Chinese and Korean and Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Is it a web series that's on the site, or is it something that you can view?
yeah, it's a series of artists.
Oh, articles, okay.
Cool. Does anybody have any other questions or any?
Well, also, the idea of the invitation to visit KCET is incredibly generous, and that's one of the best ways to learn, is just watch an editor deal with a reporter, see what they want, see the process.
And if you're really interested, you can come with us on our shoots, which I think are really fun. That's a thing that is really fun to go and see how we put this stuff together. Like, because we shoot pretty much a video a week, and then we put it into the TV show, which aired last night. But, so yeah, that's really fun, like going out and doing that. If you ever want to come on a shoot, let me know.
That is so fantastic.
Okay, why don't you each, if you don't have a question for Drew, and this is sort of an awkward thing, take a minute to just think for a second. Maybe don't leave until
Sure.
think, write down something. I mean, even your Mario Ibarra at the beginning idea, how does it fit in? The questions that you have. You know,